Many of us use facial recognition technology to unlock our phones. Well, now there's a move to allow law enforcement to use that technology in some cases for public safety. Our Lauren Toms has been covering this on why some people are actually pushing back.
Nathan Sheard has been an activist and organizer for over a decade. His latest fight is to preserve the right to privacy. But a new law could allow law enforcement to use facial recognition for public safety.
Really, there's no way to separate the harms and the risks of government use of face recognition technology from the use of the technology at all. In a park where there's 200, 300 people, it's, several thousand people, not infrequently, there's an anonymity there. In the absence of government use of face recognition technology, where you can go and you can listen to voices and messages that might be controversial without fear that you'll be identified and potentially before you're even aware of whether you are in unison with them, that you could be associated with something that could potentially have a negative impact on your life. Absent of face recognition technology, you have that anonymity of the collective.
Today, Sheard works at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, helping push legislation that protects people's right to privacy. And Sheard says the proposed policy strips a person's right to refusal, even if they're not committing a crime.
It's even more concerning than simply having an officer walk up to someone on the street and ask for identification, because it doesn't happen in a way that you would even be able to know that it had happened.
Under Assembly Bill 642, law enforcement could use facial recognition as an aid to an investigation and would prohibit its use as a sole reason for an arrest or search. The bill's sponsor, Assemblymember Phil Ting, championed the initial ban on facial recognition technology. He agrees that a moratorium on the technology is ideal, but says that a ban does not have enough support to continue under the current legislature.
There's no regulation, which is the Wild West. So any law enforcement agency can do anything they want. This way, there's a set of statewide best practices. There's a set of statewide guidelines.
Ting represents San Francisco, which is one of 4 California cities that have banned the use of this technology among police. He says the bill includes protections for people who are exercising their First Amendment freedoms.
Anytime you're, just a witness to a crime, anytime you are just using your constitutional rights, that facial recognition footage cannot be used against you.
But Sheard argues it's a slippery slope, particularly for minorities and undocumented people who he says could be reprimanded for engaging in public protests and ultimately force people to think twice before speaking out.
So Lauren tells us the bill would require the technology to be set to 98% accuracy, the highest level. San Francisco, Alameda, Berkeley, and Oakland have all banned police from using facial recognition. So if the bill passes, they could pass their own moratoriums.